Welcome in. This is the KO Brothers DFS Podcast. That's Jonathan. I'm Michael. This is a brand new DFS Podcast helping you smash those lineups and win that cash. How's everybody doing? Once again, we have a Randy Moss jersey to give away. All you got to do, subscribe to the channel, like the episode, and you're automatically in the drawing to win. It's authentic. Nike, don't get much better than that. Johnny boy, how we doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Tough slate ahead. We
Tough
got a
one.
really tough slate ahead. And speaking of tough, actually, before we jump right into it, instead of starting out with a question or a tip or, this week we're going to start out giving the viewers a little bit of chance to get to know us. I want to know your favorite Halloween candy.
Oof. That's tough. I would have to go with, it's a close call, but I'm going to have to go with Reese's over Kit Kat.
Reese's over Kit Kat.
Close second, though.
All right. They both suck. Best candy out there, Snickers, by far, any one of them, peanut butter squared, working down from there. All right, let's jump into it. It is a tough slate, so let's start off at the toughest part of the slate, in my eyes, running back. This week, tight slate. Real tight slate with running back. I think the pricing is tight. I mean, I had trouble finding value at running back. I really did. I do have some picks here that are value. But let's start at the top of the slate. If you're paying up, what do you got, Johnny?
I like CMC this week playing Tampa Bay. I know everyone's saying this is going to be a shootout. I think the Panthers honestly take this game. But that being said, Cam Newton's going to throw a lot, give a lot of checkdowns to McCaffrey.
Check, baby, check!
McCaffrey's going to get a lot in the run game, too. Good week from McCaffrey.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. The Bucs D, when you think the Bucs D, you don't even think of a good defense. And I'll tell you what, considering the fact that they lost Quan Alexander and Gerald McCoy the last 2 weeks, they have been gashed in the run game, giving up 206 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Just in 2 games. In 2 games, ever since they lost Quan Alexander and Gerald McCoy. That is an insane stat. Not only that, they are second worst through the air to fantasy points to the running back. Second worst through the air. I think CMC is in for a giant game. He's averaging 6 targets a week. I think it's a great play. Great play. CMC, I got him in every season league. I mean, who doesn't love Christian McCaffrey? What else you got for me?
I like Melvin Gordon if he's not limited in any type of way. I know he's the hamstring coming back. It's hard injury to come back from.
That's a tough one.
Pace that, but if he plays, if he's a full go, I'm putting him in my lineup. He's been a beast before his injury all this season. The second best running back in the league fantasy wise, under Todd Gurley. Before his injury. Because Saquon's probably above him now.
Yeah. Actually, believe it or not, that was going to bring me to my next take. I do think Gordon is a good take if he plays, but if he doesn't play, I think Eckler's a slam in GPP, because even if Gordon plays, I see him being limited. The Chargers are...
he's not limited.
I think he's going to be limited. I have Eckler in GPP, because even... Eckler's averaging 5 catches a game, so I got him against Seattle. A little bit of a shootout. I do think he's limited, which I would have Eckler as a value play. But if Gordon plays, you can't argue. It is a good play in cash. Now, you said second best running back. I hate to break it to you, but the second best running back in the league is Kareem Hunt. In standard leagues, in PPR leagues.
Not before Melvin's injury.
Nope. In PPR leagues, it is Saquon and then Hunt. Obviously, Gurley's a top in every chart you look at. But Kareem Hunt is second best running back, and that is my smash play. If you're paying up, and obviously you don't want to pay up for Gurley, I mean, there's not much to say about Gurley. He's on pace for 2,300 yards and 30 touchdowns. The dude is a beast. He is facing the Saints defense, however, who haven't allowed a 100-yard rusher yet this year. The most they've ever allowed is 70 yards rushing. But it is Todd Gurley. There's not much more you could say. It is a tough matchup. But he's Todd Gurley. He's on pace for 30 touchdowns, breaking the record. On pace for, I mean, honestly, if you don't give it to a quarterback, you're going to give it to Todd Gurley MVP. So, but you don't want to pay for Todd Gurley. I think paying up, I think you're going to go Kareem Hunt. The Browns defense has allowed a 100-yard rusher in 5 of 8 games this year. And in the last 2 so 5 out of 8 games, they allowed a 100-yard rusher. Now, in the last 3 games, 2 out of those 3 games, they've allowed 160 rushing yards as a minimum. Not only that, 2 touchdowns. Connor gashed them for 38 fantasy points last week, which was the 3rd time this season they have been gashed for 35 fantasy points to a running back. I think Kareem Hunt is in for a big, big, big day. All right. So as far as paying up wise, what else you got for me?
I'm not really paying up for anyone, but a mid-range guy. I like Nick Chubb playing Kansas City, coming in 6,600. Once he was given that opportunity, he's made the most of it. He's been looking good. He's playing the Chiefs. They're giving up about 25 fantasy points towards the running back position, about 110 yards a game and a touchdown.
Yeah, he's 4,500 on DraftKings, so he's like crazy cheap on DraftKings. If you are interested in Nick Chubb, I think it's an interesting split between the two of them. Kansas City defense actually is bad with the pass and the run. They actually give up 5.3 yards per carry, second highest in the NFL. And they also allow the most fantasy points through the air to pass-catching running backs. So I think they're both. I know Duke. We haven't heard much from Duke this year, but their running backs coach, Freddie, whatever his name is, their new running backs coach. So maybe he's going to get Duke more involved.
Hope he does.
I do think. I mean, we don't know yet. That's the problem. I do think Nick Chubb is relatively safe. That's a cash pick. Yeah. I think he's relatively safe. Duke is someone you maybe want to play in tournaments a little more if you want to get ballsy. I don't even know where Duke is. So he's 3,800 on DraftKings, Duke Johnson, and he's way down here on FanDuel, which is good.
Even find him.
So he's like there he's 5,200. So it's pretty good for running back. So 52, 3,800. I mean, that's a GPP play. So GPP play, Duke Johnson, Chubb, cash, G play. What else you got for me?
I like Kenyon Drake playing the Jets. I know you like this guy too. I mean, he has had a rough start of the season, but the last few games starting to look alive now.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're giving him a little more work now. He's getting about like 12 carries a game, something like that.
He's quietly, believe it or not, I know he had a really, really, really rough start to the season. He is 6,900 on FanDuel and 5,300 on DraftKings. He did have a rough start to the season, but he's quietly the running back 15 this year. And he's actually averaging 16 touches per game. And in the last 4 games, he's averaging 9.3 carries, 6.8 targets, with a 6.3 yards per touch, which is pretty damn good. Yeah. And the Jets defense in the last 4 games have given up 5 yards per carry and the 6th most receiving yards, along with 3 touchdowns in the last 4 games. So I think, believe it or not, I think Drake's a great play. And even though he has been a bit up and down this year, I think he's relatively safe this week for cash games. What about in that same game? What do you think of Isaiah Crowell?
I don't like Crowell.
Nobody likes Crowell.
Yeah.
He's a game script running back, and generally people like consistent, flashy. Crowell, 30, 0. 30, 0.
Yeah, Amari Cooper.
Up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yeah, Amari Cooper.
Up, down, up, down, up, down. But, however, Miami has allowed 9. Now, we've only played 8 weeks, and they have allowed 9 RB1 performances. 9 in 8 games. How the hell is that even possible? On top of that, the running backs minimum was 17 points. So they've scored at least 17 points, 9 RB1 performances in 8 weeks. Crowell is a game script running back, but he is averaging 4.86 yards per carry.
He doesn't really have any competition anymore.
Well, McGuire's coming back.
This week he's coming back?
And he's been at practice for 2 weeks, but I do think they're going to ease him into it.
Yeah.
I don't see him getting outside 10 touches, to be honest. So I think it is all Crowell's backfield. And when you have the backfield all to yourself, it really doesn't matter what game script. And I think they played the Dolphins in week 2. And week 2, Powell got the best of him, and he had 80 yards and a touchdown. And I think you might be looking at that as a floor. Maybe 80 yards and a touchdown as a floor for Crowell. And in GPPs, I mean, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a home run hitter in GPPs. He is cheap. You got FanDuel in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's 4,200 on DraftKings.
It's 5,700.
And he's 57. I mean, come on. That's what it allows you to get some value in a slate where you're supposed to be paying up for running back. He's a nice way to find some value in GPPs. Paying down. What else you got for me on this? Cash GPP, what else you got?
I like Latavius Murray. Not really paying down, 6,700. I mean, he started out the season a little rough, but the last 3 games he's averaging 5.3 yards per carry, which is very good for.
That's awesome. That's awesome, and believe it or not, that's pretty funny because the Lions are actually averaging a league-leading 5.5 yards per carry. That's what they let up. So, I mean, that's like a match made in heaven. I think Murray's a smash cash play this week. And they did add Snacks Harrison, but that didn't help last week.
What do you mean? He had 10 sacks last week.
He didn't have 10 sacks, and Chris Carson last week gashed them for 138 yards and a touchdown on 35 carries. I think it's going to take a few weeks for him to get up to speed in that new offense, but I do think Murray's a good play this week. Again, is a relatively bigger running back. I think it's a great smash play this week. Anything else for running backs before we move on?
No, I'm good on the running backs.
You're good? Okay, I do want to mention one more. Ezekiel Elliott, if you do want to pay up, I think he's a great GPP play. The Titans, yes, they are lights out against the run. They're allowing just 6 touchdowns in the last 23 games. That is a crazy stat, and that tells me no Zeke, no Zeke, no Zeke. But in GPPs, you want a way to be contrarian and differentiate yourself. And Zeke is a running back. I mean, we all know what Ezekiel Elliott brings to the table. And they also added Amari Cooper, so it's something else that defense has to pay attention to. So I do think Zeke could have a nice game at home. I think he's a nice GPP pick against a so-called Titans lights-out defense, but they haven't played anybody of Zeke's caliber. Moving on. You got nothing else, right?
I'm good.
All right. Moving on to QB. What do you got for me when it comes to the quarterbacks?
I'll give you
the captains.
Knockout pick of the week.
Who you swinging at?
It's my jab. It's going.
This is a jab. You need some work on that jab, boy.
Super Cam. He's averaging about 25 points per game right now. He's playing a terrible Tampa Bay defense. They've given up the most points and most touchdowns towards the quarterback positions, and they also given up the 3rd most yardage towards the quarterback position. So I think Cam is going to be all over Tampa Bay's defense. I said it before. Start Cam Newton.
That is a great play. I got some crazy stats for Cam Newton. Check this out. Now, Tampa Bay has been bad. Cam Newton. I'm sorry. Cam Newton against Tampa Bay in the last 3 games, he's been bad, man.
Yeah, no.
He's been terrible. In the last 3 games, he's had 160 yards and a pick, 150 yards, touchdown and a pick, 237 yards, touchdown, and 3 picks. That's the last 3 games against Tampa Bay. However, the Bucs defense this year have allowed 8.76 yards per attempt, a 73.7% completion percentage, and 7.52 touchdown rate. All of them are worse than the NFL, or highest in the NFL. However you want to put it, they're at the bottom.
They're bad.
So, Cam's a great play. I don't think he struggles with the defense. And on top of that, now, Cam's more of a rushing quarterback. The 2 rushing quarterbacks that played Tampa Bay this year was Mitchell Trubisky, rushed for 53 yards, and Baker Mayfield rushed for 43 yards. So you're pretty much starting the game with 4 to 6 points just from rushing. So I think Cam Newton is a great play. Very good knockout pick. So I guess we thought alike this week because I go with my knockout pick, and we can't rub beards because you don't have one. So I will rub it with my boy Fitzmagic, getting the ball back from a terrible Pix-a-lot Jameis Winston. No good. Fitzmagic averaging 10.8 yards per target. Now, I know we don't like to do this, but if you combine his starts along with the 2 half games against the Bears and the Bengals, Fitzpatrick is averaging 387 yards per game and 3.3 touchdowns. That's insane. 400 yards and 3 touchdowns a game? That is crazy. On top of that, the Panthers have allowed at least 2 passing touchdowns this year. At least 2 to every single quarterback this year. So I think it's safe to say that you could pretty much lock and load 300 yards and 2 touchdowns from Fitzmagic this week.
He's cheap too.
Great KO pick. He's very cheap. He's how much?
7,100 on FanDuel.
71 on FanDuel, and he's 55 on DraftKings. So he's incredibly cheap. It's a great way to save money on, like I said, on a slate where we have to pay up for running back. Generally, in a cash game, GPP, you can pretty much go wherever you want. Go where you think you can get 5x on a player. So we gave you our 2 knockout picks. Other than knockout picks, what else you got for me? So we started kind of all over this QB slate. You're up, I'm down. So let's just keep winging it. What do you got for me? QB.
I like Baker Mayfield playing Kansas City.
Baker, the touchdown maker? Well, not yet this year. But
yeah, no, he's not really.
Soon to be Baker, the touchdown maker. What do you say? What do you say? Stat? What do you say?
I say he's not really having that good of a year. Not the year they really hope for a number 1 pick. He's still playing good.
Ain't it, man? It's Hugh Jackson.
Not fantasy-wise.
He's out now. Freddie Kitchens now, offensive coordinator. That's who was a running back coach, Freddie Kitchens. I should have remembered Kitchen. I'm always in the damn kitchen.
Yeah, hopefully this new coaching system gets him right on track, which they should. They have a lot of talent on that team. I don't see why he shouldn't be a top 15, top 12 quarterback.
Yeah, I think so. Now, the only problem I see with Baker Mayfield is that the Chiefs' pass rush this year have had 22 sacks over the last 6 games. And Baker Mayfield has been sacked 17 times in the last 4 games. So that's a little bit of a recipe for disaster there. So I do think Baker is a good play because the Kansas City Chiefs do allow the 8th most fantasy points to quarterbacks. So that gives you some promise there. They're under a new coach this year, this week. And I do think it's going to be a bit of a learning curve with everybody. So I do think Baker's a good play. However, I think it's more of a GPP play.
Yeah, it is a little risky.
Yeah, a little risky, but
I like to roll the dice.
Hey, spend money to make money. What did I say? Spend money to make money, whatever, All right. What else you got for me with quarterback?
I like Russell Wilson. I mean, he doesn't really have a great matchup. He's playing the Chargers, but he's
Only
been
passing the ball 17 times a game.
Yeah, but I mean, Doug Baldwin.
Oh, he's efficient. He had what? What did he pass? I think it was I don't have it written down, but I think he passed the ball under 20 times and he had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right? So Russell Wilson's super efficient, man. He gets out of that pocket, He's great. He's 5,900 on DraftKings.
He is.
They got him on
77 on FanDuel.
77 on FanDuel. So
prices are so much more than DraftKings.
Because you got $10,000 more.
Oh, shit.
You got 50K on DraftKings. 60K on that. So I don't know why they have that. It's weird, but yeah, I think Russell Wilson's a decent play. He's at home, like I said. You're always more comfortable at home. He started off the year a little rocky, but he's definitely been picking it up of late. So I think that's a good play. I think it's more of a GPP play in my eyes. But I mean, hey, if you want to play him in cash, more power to you. Of course, we got Pat Mahomes at the top of the slate. I mean, he's just insane in a 51.5 over/under. Hill right now is not playing. He's going to be a game-time decision. But whether he plays or not, Pat Mahomes is still passing the ball over 30 times a game. And, believe it or not, he's second in passing yards. So, he's going to pass the ball. I mean, Watkins has a bad matchup. But you still got Kareem Hunt. I'm kind of interested in seeing him, how he does without Hill. I mean, look at Alex Smith. I mean, people say he made Alex Smith his career. So I'm kind of interested to see what he does without Hill this week. I would personally fade Mahomes if Hill's out. I was just giving you, if you do want to pay up, everybody loves Mahomes this year, me included. But I am interested to see what he does without Tyreek the Freak. Anything else for quarterback? Any pay downs? Any saver? Any picks to save me some money? Save our listeners some money?
No, really, Fitzpatrick was probably one of the cheapest quarterbacks. You right said him.
I'll tell you what. Give me a quick check on how much Alex Smith is on FanDuel. Because he's 5,000 on DraftKings if you want to save some money.
7,500.
All right. Alex Smith. I got a little something crazy about the Falcons defense. All right. The Falcons defense have allowed over a 70% completion rate in coverage. They've allowed over 8 yards per attempt and a 6.1 touchdown rate. That is a recipe for success. And yes, Alex Smith is struggling this year, but they have not. Well, I should say a quarterback hasn't finished outside the top 10 against that defense all year. Now, I think it could be. However, I think Alex Smith is a great GPP play. The stats back it up. And the Falcons D is more than generous. So, and if you want to pay up, if you want to go back up, I also think Goff and Breeze in the same game is a great matchup. 60 points over under. The Rams defense has led the NFL in giving up those 40-plus yards play. They're worse in the NFL. They've given them up the most. To be exact, 10 plays of 40-plus in the passing game or more. The Rams defense have let up. They've also let up a touchdown rate of every 12.5 passes, they let up a touchdown. That's insane. And Breeze is at home where he smashes at home. Yes, he is only passing the ball 25 times, but he's got a 77% completion rate. So I do think Breeze is in for a great game, and I think they're going to have to match each other. The Saints' D was good last year. They were really good. And Jared Goff averaged 287 yards and 2.5 touchdowns against them last year. And that was against a good Saints defense. Yeah. And this year, Goff is throwing the ball over 31 times a game with a 68% completion percentage. So I think this game is... and the Saints also are the 7th most against 40+. So we got the worst and the worst and the 7th worst. So however you say it, the worst, whatever. So you got 2 terrible defenses, 2 great quarterbacks who do pass the ball, are very efficient with it. I think that's great if you want to pay up. Anything else for quarterback before we move on?
No, I'm good.
All right. No, what?
Jared Goff and Drew Brees are the same price. I would much rather have Jared Goff in my lineup. Like you said, he's the stats he averaged. What were they again?
284 and 2.5 touchdowns last year.
Jared Goff's only getting better, and the Saints defense is getting.
And he gets Cooper Kupp, and he gets Cooper Kupp back.
Yeah,
Cooper Kupp is on track to play. I mean, barring a setback, but yeah, I mean they are the same price. They're $100. They're $100 difference. 61 and 6. So Drew Brees is 61. Goff is 6,000 on DraftKings. So they're $100 difference.
They're both 84 on.
And
FanDuel.
I mean, me personally in cash, I like to play home quarterbacks and home running backs. So, but like I said, you can't go wrong either way. The numbers back it up to be a shootout. It's a 60-point over/under. I think that's the game we might be stack attacking. We'll see. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I might do some Tampa Bay with my Magic card. So we'll see. All right, moving on. Wide receiver. What do you got for me?
I mean,
where are we starting? Well, what do you got?
Oh, we're
whatever.
Starting up wherever.
Wherever you want.
You say you didn't like him, but
your world.
I'm all in on.
We're all paying rent.
Sammy Watkins.
All right. What do you got for Sammy Watkins? Because I don't want to downplay your take. Sammy Watkins. I mean, if Hill plays, you smash Watkins.
I'm smashing Watkins.
This is if Hill doesn't play. All right. If Hill doesn't play, Denzel Ward locks in with Sammy Watkins. Denzel Ward is in the running for Rookie of the Year. No. Is he going to get Rookie of the Year? No. Saquon Barkley's going to get Rookie of the Year.
100%.
But he's in the running for Rookie of the Year. He only allows a 54% catch rate. That's insane for a rookie. That's like Marshawn Lattimore last year. And he's only allowed 88 yak this year. That's total for the season in 8 games. 88 yards after the catch. So, and Watkins is more of that yak. He's been that yak guy this year. So, I think...
Have you ever faced anyone as fast as Watkins?
Well, you really think Watkins is still that fast after all those injuries?
He probably lost
after all that
he's
foot.
Still fast.
So, this is a rookie. So, I mean, we'll see. But, I mean, I think Hill has to play for Watkins to smash. But, you never know. This is football. Yeah. The most, differentiation sport there is out there. You can be all over or take, can go off. So, you have a good feeling about Watkins. Hey, there's one thing in fantasy football. No matter what the numbers say, you always go with your gut. Always. If you know football and you watch it, the eye test, I say, is what you always go by. I don't care what the stats say. I don't care what the numbers say. The eye test. Your eyes never lie to you. When you're looking into that girl's eyes and she's saying she loves you, you're looking into her eyes, guess what? Eyes don't lie to you. No matter what bullshit is coming out of her mouth, eyes don't lie. Always believe the eye test. Always go with your gut. What else you got for me?
Well, receiver I'd pay up for is DeAndre Hopkins, no matter what the matchup is, any single week.
All right. What are you going to say about D-Hop? The guy's a beast, all right? D-Hop's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm paying up,
yeah, great. If I'm paying up, I'm going Mike Evans, baby. Mike Evans does have that Q tag, but if he plays, Evans would be the best choice. Now, you know me. I like to pair a receiver.
Hard on for Fitzpatrick.
I love Fitzpatrick, and either whether I'm playing cash or GPP, I do like to stack. I always like to stack because there is a such thing as maximizing your upside. I mean, yeah, you could hit, they could both flop, but generally, if you're right on that take, the quarterback goes with the receiver. So, if I'm putting together a lineup and I have that extra money, I'm going Evans. I'll take Evans or Godwin this week to pair with Fitzpatrick. Now, if I have money, I'm going to pay up for Evans. Evans is averaging 7.6 catches, 122 yards, and a touchdown with Fitzpatrick in the lineup. And that's not including his 72-yard bomb last week. It's not including that. So, he is the best to pair if you got that extra money. Now, if you don't, because Mike Evans is 8,100. What's he on FanDuel?
Mike Evans, 79.
79. All right.
So he's more of a FanDuel play.
Yeah. Now, if you don't have the money to pay for him, what's Godwin? Because Chris Godwin is 4,400 on DraftKings.
That's a good one.
Okay, now Godwin all right,
59.
59. Okay, so if you don't have the money for Evans and you want to go Godwin, go Godwin. Godwin is playing the second most snaps, believe it or not, more than Deshaun Watson, more than Adam Humphries. He's playing the second most snaps, and he's had a touchdown in 3 or 4 games with Fitzpatrick. So he's also, I think, a very good play. Now, if you're in that game and you're looking at which receiver and you want to take Fitzpatrick, do not take Deshaun Jackson. I am 100% off Deshaun Jackson this week. Deshaun Jackson is only playing 89 snaps in the last 2 weeks. That's less than Adam Humphries. So I don't know what's going on with D-Jack. He's requesting a trade. He didn't get traded. He's only playing 89 snaps in the last 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on with him. And he's also got the worst cornerback matchup out of the 3 of them. He's going to be against Dante Jackson. What do you think when you think of Deshaun Jackson? You think he's going to burn him down the sideline. He's got speed. Well, Dante Jackson runs a 4.3 40-yard dash faster than Deshaun Jackson's 4.5 40-yard dash. So he ain't burning Dante Jackson down the field. Stay off Deshaun Jackson. You want to pair up a receiver with Fitzpatrick and maximize that upside. Pay down for Godwin. Pay up for Evans. What else you got for me?
Well, you said I'm focused on this now because you said, what do you think of when you think of Deshaun Jackson? All I think of is the kick return against the Giants, and it makes me depressed.
Okay. Let's take a moment of silence for our Giant fans out there.
It's all right.
Moving on!
The pain is numb now. Season's over.
What else you got for me?
I like...
that was like 25 years ago.
I like DJ Moore playing Tampa Bay. I mean, he finally got his opportunity last week. Made the most of it. Cam Newton trusted him. Looked like it. He's targeted Funches.
Yeah, he out-targeted Funches last week.
Like double the targets.
No, I think it was just under double.
Just under double?
I think it was just under double, but I mean, still. I do think he is on an up-down. I do think Funches has the better cornerback matchup out of the 2, but DJ Moore's younger, and they do look like he's gaining trust in him. I think DJ Moore's that's a cash pick?
Yeah.
I talked all cash.
Especially if Torrey Smith's out.
Oh, no.
I mean, that's how we got his opportunity.
Yeah, yes, but I think that they want to use this kid, and everybody's on DJ Moore. I really think they're going to use this kid a lot. I mean, Funches, he's cheap too, right? Funches is 56 on DraftKings, and DJ Moore is 4,300, so that's like a crazy pay down.
Yeah, Funches on FanDuel, Funches is 64, and DJ Moore is 53, so it's...
Yeah, I would save the $1,000. Yep, I would save the $1,000, and I definitely smash DJ Moore in the lineup. Even though Funches has the better matchup, hey, that's an extra $1,000.
That being that much of a point difference between them.
It's an extra $1,000. Pay up, pay down. I mean, save that money for your running backs. Now another wide receiver combo that I like this week is Emmanuel Sanders and Cortland Sutton. It's another little combo. Now, I'm not playing their quarterback. I ain't playing Case Keenum. You're playing these receivers butt naked. Now, the Texans, and the reason why I'm on these two is because the Texans have lost their cornerbacks. They're actually starting 2 safeties at cornerback. And they do have a good run defense. They're 12th in the league, so just above middle of the pack. But the run, they're only giving up 95 yards a game, and they've only gave up 2 touchdowns. So you're going to have to pass the ball. Sutton's averaging 8.5 yards per target. Emmanuel Sanders is 8.8 yards per target. 8.8 yards per target. And, Parker gashed them last week for 6 catches and 134 yards on 9 targets. So they're both a very good play. And if I'm not... I think Sutton's like dirt cheap. What's he on FanDuel?
55 on FanDuel.
55 on FanDuel.
And Sanders is 71.
He's so cheap I can't even find him on DraftKings.
Yeah, both in for increased workload too, with DT being traded to the Texans.
Yeah, I mean that's 9 targets a game. Sutton 3,900 on DraftKings, and Emmanuel Sanders, who's a beast this year, 6,400. Emmanuel Sanders actually quietly, he's a top 10 wide receiver this year in fantasy points, top 10 wide receiver. So I think they're both great plays.
I looked last week. It said he was power ranked 4 on ESPN sites.
Oh man, I didn't know he was that high. I know he was inside the top 10.
Me too. I saw that. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I know he was inside the top 10. I actually tried to offer him for a trade for Diggs in our league, in one of our leagues. It got turned down. I think Diggs has the edge over. Don't worry, Ed. You made a good decision because I do think Diggs has the edge over Emmanuel Sanders. But what is the edge? This much? I mean, they're both smash plays. Diggs also a great play. Speaking of Diggs, at home against Detroit. Diggs is a great play this week. Detroit defense is just a mess. And Slay Jr., he could be on Thielen. He might play Diggs. Not really sure where he's going to go. But he probably will switch on and off between the two, which makes them both good plays. What else you got for me? Wide receiver.
I mean, I took Baker as my quarterback, so, I got to pair him with Jarvis. Like I said, they're playing Kansas City. Not an impressive defense at all. And I mean, Jarvis, the last few weeks, he's been pretty bad, honestly. But again, I think all that was with the coaching staff and everything. I think all that's behind them. I think they'll pick it up this week. Usually, when a coach gets fired, the team itself gets fired up and they want to come out and win to prove that it wasn't their fault. So
absolutely.
I think that's something what happens with Cleveland this week. So that's why I'm going with them.
Sure, I think that's solid. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm on in that same range. How much is he on?
He is 6,600.
All right, so in that same range, I know he's 6,400. You know what I'm going for? If I'm in that 6,000 range, I'm going Amari Cooper.
Oof.
Yeah, I said it. I know. I said Amari Cooper. Now this is a GPP play. But if you're ballsy enough...
Do you want to edit that out real quick?
You could play him in cash. And no, I'm not editing that out. He's 6,400 on FanDuel.
I agree with you, actually.
And, yep, he's had 2 weeks to learn the playbook. He's at home. Malcolm Butler has been a bust. He's been terrible, terrible, terrible this year. And he's allowing... Malcolm Butler he's allowed 5 touchdowns on just 43 targets. That's crazy. And it's a big reason why the Titans have a 67% catch rate overall as a defense. And they allow 9 yards per target. And they allow a touchdown every 15 targets. So play Amari Cooper with confidence. Yeah, I bet you him and Dak are like mesh at the best friends because Dak doesn't have to pass the 5'5" Cole Beasley. Now he's got, 6'4", 6'3", Amari Cooper, and when Amari Cooper gets over 6 targets, he averages 5 catches. I think it's 65 yards and 0.6 touchdowns when he gets over 6 targets. So that's decent. I'm sorry, it was 80 yards. 80 yards. So it was 6 targets. He averages 5 catches, 80 yards, and 0.6 touchdowns. That's a great stat right there. Yeah. Now, however, 18% of his games he's had below 6 targets. So, you gotta hope he's gonna get more than 6 targets. And any receiver who's getting more than 6 targets, you're gonna play. I do think Cooper is a GPP play, but you know what? I'm playing him in cash. I am playing him in cash.
I like it. He had that back-to-back bye week.
Yeah, that's it. You got 2 weeks, 2 full weeks to sit down and study the offense. So
yeah, he was hurt. He was healing up too.
Yeah, it's a way to get him healthy.
Yeah.
Anything else before we move on? Oh wow, he's actually 4,600 on DraftKings. That's great. I didn't know he was that cheap. I know he's 64 on FanDuel, 46 on DraftKings. Wow. Anything else? Corey Davis?
I'm staying away from Corey. Maybe in GPP you could play him. I would not play him in cash though.
That's 100% right. You play Corey Davis as a smash GPP play. In his games, in the 7 games this year, he's been shadowed by a top cornerback in 6 out of 7 of those games this year. Now, that one game where he wasn't shadowed by a top cornerback, he had 9 catches for 161 yards and a touchdown.
That game did go in overtime, though, and that's when he got a touchdown.
But he ain't got no top corner on him this week. This is Dallas we're talking about here. They don't have a top cornerback. So, I do think Corey Davis is a great GPP play. Now, Dallas does keep the receiver in front of them. They do limit the big plays. I think they were 5th best in limiting the big plays. They do keep them in front of you. So, but I do think Corey Davis could have an 8-catch, maybe 80 yards and a touchdown. You know, maybe. I mean, if it's a shootout, maybe he can get close to 12 catches, maybe. I mean, I think it is a good GPP play. You never know. Even Dallas does keep the receivers in front of him. You know, they're still going to look for him in the red zone. So, I think Corey Davis is a great GPP play. Good luck this All right, we'll move on to tight ends. Tight ends, what do you got for me?
It's a little bad because I seem to be all of Cleveland this week. So, I'm going to go with David Njoku, playing Kansas City. I mean, he's one of the cheaper tight ends, coming at 5,200. I'd pick him over a lot of tight ends above him, coming in at higher prices, which...
What is he on FanDuel?
5,200.
5,200? He's 46 on DraftKings, so similar pricing. Yeah, I think Njoku's a great stat. I know he got a goose egg.
Yeah, that goose egg. It's going to be hard to trust him after that, but...
Like I said, tight ends, you could go either way. You can go cash or GPP. It doesn't matter. You know, tight ends and defenses, they go both ways. Njoku, Kansas City is allowing 9.3 yards per target to tight ends. I know he didn't catch a thing that last week, but 9.3 yards per target, that's a recipe for success right there. What else you got for me?
I like Austin Hooper this week, playing Washington, coming in at 5,900. Man, I know you don't like him this week.
He's 3,800 on DraftKings.
I know you're about to shit on me.
It's not that I don't like him. It has nothing to do with him. Matt Ryan is a quarterback that takes advantage of the defense's weakness. That's why he's always spreading that ball out. He's always taking advantage of your weakness. And the Redskins are not weak against the tight end. They're 3rd best against tight end. They only allow 1.42 yards per target, and that's PPR. That's insane stat. And they have not allowed any tight end to reach 50 yards yet. That's why I'm off Hooper. The stats say Hooper, no. I'm on someone more of Kelsey. I think Kelsey is a good play. He can go. Wait. I know he's at the top of the slate, but if they are missing Hill, Kelsey's going to be the one to pick up the slack. I think Reed is a good play because, again, those stats against Atlanta defense is 70% completion percentage. They're just, but. Like I said, you want to go with your gut. I also think Rudolph is in a good matchup against Detroit. Detroit is 3rd worst against tight ends. So, I think tight ends are a tough slate. And if I am down, I also think Vance McDonald is a very good play because that is Ben Roethlisberger's security blanket.
Yeah.
So I think Vance is a good play too. I mean, I am off Hooper, but, that's just my take. What else you got for me on tight ends?
That's it? Really. I mean, if you want to save a lot of money, you could throw a Dixon in your lineup.
Oh, my God. All right, we're going to move on to defense with that take. No, I do like that. That's an okay take. But, like I said, I'm on Rudolph, who's 300 more on DraftKings.
Yeah.
3,600. So, all right, defense. What do you got for me with defense?
Obviously, the Bears, but that doesn't really count. So I like.
Yeah, but do we even know who's starting for Buffalo? It's a creative player, right?
Yeah, it's
some creative player that no one's ever heard of.
I have no idea.
Yeah, the Bears are awesome defense. There's not much you could say about that. What else? It's a great play. Even though they're on the road, it's still a good play.
I like Dallas playing Monday night against Tennessee. I mean, Mariota's been terrible this year, throwing picks right and left. Dallas's defense has been actually pretty good, surprisingly. So I think this is more of a low-scoring game between Dallas and Tennessee. So I'd like Dallas defense.
I agree. That's where I'm going with defense. I was going to say the Cowboys. They, like we were saying before, they don't have a number one cornerback, but they do keep the play in front of you, and you don't care about points. When you're picking a defense, you want sacks, you want interceptions. Nobody outside Baker Mayfield has been sacked more than Mariota this year. Mariota has been sacked 15 times in 3 games, and Dallas is averaging just over 3 sacks a game. That's a recipe for disaster. Also, Dallas hasn't allowed an opponent to score over 24 points this year. And
Tennessee's not doing that.
Tennessee has only scored over 20 points one time, and it was 21. So, 22. I think it was 22. So, yeah, not Cowboys, definitely Cowboys. Also, I do think you can pick the Steelers or the Ravens. Either one of those defenses. Now, you got a little crazy stat for you. Another crazy stat. All right. In the last 4 meetings, when the Steelers and Ravens met in Baltimore, only Baltimore. So the last 4 times they met in Baltimore, so the last 4 years, because they alternate every year, so in the last 4 years, in Baltimore, they have only averaged for 34 points per game between the two of them. That is a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
And they are hard-nosed, hard for it. You know, I think you can't go wrong with those defenses either.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel comfortable picking. I know the Ravens are a good defense, but I wouldn't feel comfortable picking a defense.
You got Ben on the road. What more is there to say? Ben sucks on the road.
You got James Conner and Antonio Brown.
I know, but the stats you're in the last 4 meetings in Baltimore only averaging for 34 points.
Yeah.
But, you know, what else? Anything else with defense?
No. Not really.
No? Can you pay down for the Packers against a 42-year-old quarterback? Yeah, who the hell would do that? The 42-year-old quarterback's Tom Brady. All right. Moving on to our licking chops with our savory segment.
Oh, God, I hate
Jonathan, who is your savory pick? Callaway.
I know, Callaway. I just have every Browns player on offense.
That's all right.
It's ridiculous.
That's all right. Callaway is your savory pick.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. I like that pick. He's actually, believe it or not, do you know he's top 20 in the NFL in targets?
Yeah, he just can't catch the ball.
He just can't catch a ball, exactly.
Last week he played good, though.
The only problem with that, now this is a GPP only play because Baker Mayfield's QBR,
Well, yeah, definitely GPP only.
when throwing to Callaway, is 46. That's bad. That's bad. My savory pick is Traquan Smith in the over-under game. 60-point over-under. The Rams D, like I said, worst in the league with the 40-plus yard plays. Smith is that big play guy for the Saints. And also, Troy Hill. He's going to draw the defensive coverage of Troy Hill. Troy Hill is averaging a touchdown every 13 targets. That's not this year. That's not the last 2 years. That's for his 4-year career. His career stat, every time the ball's 13 passes, one of those are going for a touchdown. That's an insane stat. So, Traquan Smith, he's $5,200 on DraftKings. What is he on FanDuel?
I think he's 51. Let me check. Yeah, 51.
51. That's a savory pick. All right. Do you have any other savory picks?
No.
All right. Moving on to our Stack Attack segment. You don't even have to say it.
I don't have
We
to say
know you're stacking the Browns.
It's the Browns.
You're stacking the Browns.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck cashing in last place. Now, I've said it. I am going to stack Tampa Bay. I'm going to stack Fitz with either Godwin or Evans, depending on if I can pay up or pay down. I am also going to stack Sutton and Sanders together. Maybe throw a little of your boy in there.
Phillip?
Afro Man, yeah. Maybe throw a little bit of Philip Lindsay in that lineup. But the one game I want to stack, I would stack though. Those are my secondary stack. The one game you're gonna stack
Carolina, Tampa Bay.
Breeze and Goff. Saints Rams game, 60-point over under. And do you know that the first 4 millionaires of the season, the guys who won that millionaire contest, all paired the highest over for that week. Yeah, the highest over under. And this is the Saints Rams game. 2 horrible defenses. You could take anyone from that game. Breeze with Thomas, and I know we didn't mention Thomas, but he smashes every week. There's not much to say. He's got a 92% catch rate. So I really think you can go anywhere in that game. Goff, you can stack him with Kupp coming back. Kupp's his red zone. Woods. Go nuts. Stack that game and go nuts with the New Orleans and Goff stack. It's a GPP and a cash stack. The Tampa Bay stack is a cash stack. And Jonathan's Brown stack is a GPP stack.
No, I'm cashing that.
You cashing that?
Nah, I'm not going to put Callaway in the stack, but yeah.
All right.
Baker, Chubb, and Jarvis.
All right. I like it. Final thoughts? Okay, that's an awkward pause. Good luck this
Shout out D-Rose, 50 points.
Yeah, this is a football podcast. Good luck this week, everyone. See you next week. Oh, wait. Don't forget, subscribe to the podcast.
Next week.
Randy Moss jersey. See you next week.